I'm currently reading Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. Her imagination, you guys. One of the reasons why I love this series is because of the fairy tale whimsicalness of it. I definitely feel like she could explore this world more. Good morning, loves. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to another Slow Reader Diaries. I'm going to be honest, I haven't got anything specifically planned. This is literally just going to be a little vlog of me reading, and what I am currently reading, I'm very excited about. I'm currently reading Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is the final book in the Emily Wilde trilogy. I am really enjoying this book. This overall series, like, it's not a 5-star series for me, but it's such a comfort series. It's literally like a warm hug of a book series, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Admittedly, the second one lost me a little bit, but it's been pulled back with the third one. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. As always, I love being back with my gal Emily and Wendell. This man makes me giggle so much. Honestly, if I could have a kind of crossover with Wendell and Hal, that would just be iconic, because the two are cut from the same cloth. They really, really are. And Wendell, he just makes me giggle, and he is so down hard for Emily. He is so down hard for her. It is adorable. But I won't say too much because this is the third book, so I don't want to spoil anything. But the covers as well are just gorgeous. I nearly didn't pick this up because, if you didn't know, these books are kind of written like a diary. So each chapter title is a new, like a date. And because of the cover, I was like, this is the perfect spring read. And then I opened it up and it was like the diary entries were January and December. And I was like, am I about to be catfished again like I was with the first book? 'Cause the first book is very much, I'd say, a winter read, because where the first book it's set in like the Alps. So it's very snowy and mountainous, perfect for winter. And I saw this cover and then I saw the date titles and I was like, am I being catfished again with these dates? But it's okay. It makes sense why the cover is very spring. Bluebells are my favorite flower, and these bluebells are just beautiful. I mean, they literally look the same as the bluebells, but there are some white ones there as well. Got the cute pink mushrooms, and then we have some slow reading representation with the cute snail. So something I have been loving is playing some cozy fantasy, like ambience music, and just having a nice warm cup of tea and getting really snuggly and just allowing myself to really immerse into this book. I have been quite busy over the last few days. As of recording, it is Wednesday, the 22nd of April. This weekend just gone, it was my brother's wedding. He got married in the south of France. It was absolutely beautiful. It was amazing. Honestly, couldn't have been more of a beautiful wedding, but it was so emotional. None of us realized how emotional we were all going to get. We all of us, like the whole family, both sides of the family, were just crying constantly. Happy tears, obviously, tears of joy, but we were all just sobbing. Even the bride and the groom, they were sobbing. So by the end of it, because me and Ben traveled to my dad's on the Thursday, and then we flew out on the Friday, flew back on the Monday, back to life and work on the Tuesday. So we're all feeling just a little bit drained. So today is like my first day off from all of that hectic craziness, but it was just incredible. It was honestly like watching a book romance come to life. Oh, I can't talk about it too much because I'll probably start crying again. And I'm also due in 2 days, so I'm also just hormonally emotional. And also in 2 days, it's my birthday. So I mentioned, I think in the previous vlog, like April, it's a busy month for me. Every weekend I've done something / doing something. This weekend for my birthday, I'm going back up to see my brother and sister-in-law because they're getting a new puppy and I get to go meet him and I'm so excited. I haven't really planned out any time to read, so I thought I would just document the little moments when I am reading. I don't know if I'm going to finish this today because of how this book is written. It's academic. Our main character, Emily Wilde, she is an academic, so she has very academic writing. This book even has footnotes in it, which totally adds to the atmosphere of the book, and it really does add to just the overall vibe and energy, and is so fitting for Emily's character. But it just takes me a little bit longer to read and process, which is so fine because I want to take in the book as much as I can. I do not want to rush it, and I'm generally just a slow reader anyways. So I don't know if I'll finish it today, but I do really just want to chill out and take my time and just get as much read as I possibly can. So this is really just going to be a super chilled, cozy springtime reading vlog. I'm so excited for you to join me. Let me know in the comments below what you are currently reading. I would love to know. And I hope your spring is starting off wonderfully. Or if you are Southern Hemisphere bestie, I hope your autumn is starting off fabulously. And I think what we shall now do is make ourselves a cup of tea, play some cozy fantasy music, and dive back into the world of Emily Wilde. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was going to read in the garden because the sun is out and it's like the perfect kind of sunniness. However, it is also quite windy. Wind and book doesn't really go hand in hand. If I might see if the wind dies down a little bit and I might do some reading in the garden this afternoon. But for now, I'm just gonna chill on the sofa. I made myself a Assam tea. I put a splash of milk and honey in it. It's just one of my go-tos. I love it so much. Just absolute bliss. I have got my headphones, my noise cancelling headphones, because we have reached that time of year where understandably everybody is in their gardens doing garden work, which means you've got head trimmers and lawn mowers and all sorts making lots of racket. But I understand it's that time of year. So I've got those, and then I've got my book as well. So I'm going to put on my headphones, pop on that playlist. If you were curious, the cozy fantasy playlist that I'm talking about is this one here. I didn't create it. I literally just typed in cozy fantasy on Spotify, and this is the one that I feel like most encapsulated the vibe that I was going for. I can't listen to lyrical music while reading. I just can't listen to words while also trying to read different words. It just doesn't work for my brain. But this one is instrumental, and it's just the vibes are absolutely perfect for a cozy fantasy. So this is going to be me for the next, I'll probably say, hour or so. I do have a little bit of intern work that I need to do today, but it's home base, office base. So I do need to do that. But for now, I am just going to enjoy this cup of tea, read a little bit of my book, and just chill out. I am so aware that this is a really odd angle because you are currently balanced on my sofa cushions, but there is just something that I really wanted to talk about with this book. It's more specifically Heather Fawcett's writing. Her imagination, you guys, if you haven't picked up this series and you are a lover of unique imagination, unique world building and settings, fantasy wise, the worlds that Heather Fawcett has created. Hang on, this is such a funny angle. I'm so sorry. They are unique, but they're also not. Let me try and explain what I mean. So, one of the reasons why I love this series is because of the fairy tale whimsicalness of it and the way it embraces the darker side of fantasy. Now, this isn't a dark fantasy in any shape or form. It is most definitely a light, cozy fantasy. But one of the things I love about old fairy tales is there is that darkness to them. Like, if you've ever read or heard of the Grimm's tales, so the Grimm brothers, they are the OG, to my knowledge, the OG fairy tale authors. They wrote some of the most iconic fairy tales that have been popularized by Disney. The original fairy tales that we all know and love have this darkness to them. And Heather Fawcett has so wonderfully encapsulated that in this series. And it is bringing such a nostalgic comfort for me. But she's done it in a way that is still unique to her, and it's unique to her characters and her story and her plot. And the way she's gone about her plot is so clever. It's so clever the way she's using the classic elements of storytelling and using folk tales to construct her storyline. And the vastness of what she's created is insane. So I mentioned before that there are footnotes in this book and in this series. The effort that Heather Fawcett has put into the details of this book is crazy. Like, it's so expansive and so big, and yet these books are, in the grand scheme of things, small. Like, compared to a classic fantasy, these are not big books, and yet she has so skillfully been able to create a world with such magic and knowledge and history. This book is set in, hang on, let me double check. This book is set in the early 1900s. It starts in December 1910 and goes into 1911. That in itself is a obviously historical time for us now. We are in the 2020s. She references obviously fictional texts that are from like the 1800s and the 1600s. I believe that these texts exist somewhere. I mean, obviously I don't, but I feel like I could Google these academics and these dryadologists, and they would like pop up on my Google and I could like read about their past and their research and their works. Obviously, that wouldn't happen. They're fictional, they're not real, but she has made it so believable that I feel like these people existed. I feel like I am reading some sort of academic journal. Like, I just think her writing is so skillful. She has done a phenomenal job at creating a branch of history that is fictional. This doesn't exist. This isn't real. This isn't happening. And yet I'm believing it. I'm like, yeah, no, that makes total sense. Like, it makes sense that all these academics and folklorists and dryadologists have done their research and there's a pattern happening, and Emily is now seeing that pattern so she can apply the research from these previous academics to her problem right now. Like, I genuinely, I'm just so thoroughly impressed with Heather Fawcett's dedication to the law. I just wanted to quickly pop in and say that because throughout every book, Heather Fawcett has not once faltered in her ability to create a line of history that is fictional, and she makes me believe it. She makes me believe that it actually happened. The way that she has been able to merge the mortal world and the fantasy world into one, but also, like, I feel like I can go for a walk through my local nature reserve and stumble upon a fairy door and accidentally walk into the fairy world. Like, I feel like that's going to happen to me. And with how the fae are in this book, I don't know if I want to experience that, because again, this is exploring the type of fae that is that trickster fae, that cheeky fae. You know, it's not the romancified, good-looking, humanoid, TikTokified fae. This is your OG fae, your OG fairy, trickster, little gremlins and goblins and boggarts. And again, I feel like Heather Fawcett did some serious research into fairy lore, because I mean, she must have done. There's no way she couldn't have, surely. I want to see if she's done any interviews or just has spoken about or written about her writing process of this series, because I would be so interested to see and find out what research she did around fairy lore and such, because it's not even just, I think Heather Fawcett's American, and yet she has gotten the English language down. And I know that probably sounds really silly because you're like, what do you mean, like Americans speak English? But there are differences between English and American English, and she's got it down to a T. But there's also discussion of Irish and like other European fairy lore that surely she must have done research for. The more I think about it, the more I am impressed by this series and Heather Fawcett. What does it say on the about the author bit? Heather Fawcett is the author of Emily Wilde, as well as a number of books for children and young adults, including Ember and the Ice Dragons, The Grace of Wild Things, and A Galaxy of Whales. She has a bachelor's degree in archaeology and a master's in English literature. She lives on Vancouver Island. So the fact that she studied archaeology and English literature makes so much sense. This really is top tier cozy fantasy, but I also understand why this is very much a Marmite series. Some people like couldn't even finish the first book and they DNF'd it, and I do understand due to the writing style of this book, but I am just gobbling this up. And I'm actually so excited to listen to the audiobook as well. I've listened to the audiobook of the first two books, and I think the narrators do a absolutely fantastic job. I'm hoping that this isn't really a spoiler. So this book series, like I mentioned before, are journal entries by Emily, but in the last two books one or two of the chapters or journal entries has been by Wendell, and in the audiobook those two chapters are read by another narrator. So they have a female narrator for Emily's chapters and then a male narrator for Wendell's. And I haven't come across a Wendell chapter yet, but to be fair, they were in the previous two books in the second half of the book, and I am just entering the second half of the book. So I'll be curious to see if we do get a Wendell chapter, because they are so funny. And so I'm so blabbering on now, but one thought is leading to another, and I just want to share these with you while I'm here. I would love a Wendell perspective book. I'm sorry, but how iconic would a Wendell perspective book be? Even if it was like a novella and it was just like, again, it would be like a short diary, a short journal novella of Wendell, of maybe one of the adventures that they went on, but it was from his perspective. That would honestly be incredible, because the crumbs of Wendell chapters that we got are probably my favorite chapters. I love Wendell Bambleby so much. Admittedly, I kind of liked his character more in the previous two books. I'm not going to say kind of why, because I don't want to give any spoilers, but with what is currently happening, like Wendell's dealing with much heavier problems and bigger issues. So the lightheartedness that Wendell brought to the two previous books, he can't really bring it to this book because of what he's dealing with. And I'm missing that. I'm missing like Wendell's silliness and his kind of carefree way of living, the chalk and cheese, yin and yang, grumpy sunshine that we love Emily and Wendell for isn't really reflected as heavily in this book. It's there a little bit, but they're both dealing with this very serious situation, so they're both having to be serious. Emily's always been a serious character, and that's one of the reasons why we love her. The lightheartedness that Wendell brought, he can't. And we haven't really found a replacement for that in this book. But I do love the fact that we have had some familiar faces pop up as well. That was really, really lovely. But yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying this book. At the minute, I would say it's probably sitting at a 3.75. Definitely potential to be boosted up to a 4. I don't think it can beat the first book in this series. However, I do think I'm enjoying it more than the second. So we will see if that continues to be the case. But I'm just having such a good time, and I kind of just want to keep reading. So I'm debating on actually taking myself out for a walk and soaking up some of the spring sunshine, especially with the setting of this book. The descriptions of the woodland and forests are just making me want to immerse myself. So I do actually live next to a very small nature reserve, so I think I might take myself out for a walk. I could listen to the audiobook, but at the same time I don't want to do that either. I want to read this physically first and then do the audiobook, because I've kind of discovered that I enjoy audiobooks of books I've already read. That's kind of my way of tackling an audiobook. So yeah, I still need to do my little bit of internship work though, so maybe I'll do that first and then reward myself with a little afternoon stroll through the woods. Okay, that's the plan. That's the plan, and I'm very excited for it. Good morning, my loves. It is currently 7 a.m. on Monday. The weather is just stunning. The sun is rising / out. Don't think it's fully risen yet, but there is not a cloud in the sky, and it is that perfect morning where there's still that little bit of chill in the air, but the birds are singing, and there's this quietness, this stillness just brings so much peace, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite types of mornings. I just love it so much. I am back to reality this week after a very hectic, busy April, and this morning I just wanted to enjoy my cup of tea and give you my final thoughts on Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales, because I did finish this day before yesterday, and I just wanted to give you my final thoughts and feelings because I have some and I wanted to share them with you. So grab a nice cup of tea and get cozy while we talk about this very cozy fantasy. So this is the final book in the trilogy, and 4 out of 5 stars, basically. Let's start with my final rating. My final rating is 4 out of 5 stars. I really love how Heather Fawcett has wrapped up this trilogy and wrapped up this series. It's just been done in such a nice little neat bow. I don't feel like there are no open-ended questions. I'm not left wondering, like, well, what about this? What about this? I'm not left kind of thinking, oh, could it continue? Like, the way she's done it, I definitely feel like she could explore this world more for obvious reasons. Like, there's a whole world of fairy she could explore, but I don't think she necessarily needs to do it with Emily's character. I would love to get stories in this world from some of our side characters. I think that would be really fun and really interesting. But the Emily Wilde saga, she is wrapped up really, really nicely. All 3 books do follow a very similar plot line, which can make it a bit predictable and kind of a bit boring. But for me personally, I actually find it quite comforting, which is exactly what I want from these books. These are comfort books, these are cozy books. So the fact that the stakes are relatively low in the sense that I know they're going to be resolved, it's comforting to me. And that just makes me enjoy the book 10 times more. The way that these books are written in like a very light academic way, I really, really love. I love Emily's character and her thought processes, and I think she is a wonderful representation for those. There are speculations that Emily is autistic, and I don't know if Heather Fawcett has ever confirmed or denied that, but I can definitely see where those speculations come from, because Emily's character doesn't really clock on to social cues, and she feels quite uncomfortable when people kind of express very loud emotions or are very emotional. She's very, very academic and very kind of, well, if this is what the text says, this is how it must be. Again, some people might not kind of gel with that kind of character, but I loved her. I thought she was wonderful, and I really loved the dynamic between her and Wendell from the get-go, from the start. But I do think that kind of leads on to my first, I don't want to say negative, but I guess my first reasoning as to why it's not a 5 out of 5. The dynamic between Emily and Wendell in this book is slightly different between the first 2 books, and there is an obvious reason why. I'm not going to say because I don't want to spoil anything, but I understand, and it's more on Wendell's end. Wendell does act a little differently in this book, and the Wendell in the first 2 books, he's our sunshine to Emily's grumpy. He is the comic relief, and because the stakes in this book is a little bit higher for him specifically, he isn't as that light-hearted, funny character that we have in the first 2 books, but I still love him. He still made me chuckle a couple of times, and yeah, I still adore him. And if there's like a fanfic out there of a crossover with Wendell and Howl, please send it my way, because those 2 are petals from the same flower, okay? They they are cut from the same cloth, and I adore them, and I adore Wendell. Another thing that I kind of wish we got in this book that we did get in the 2 previous books was a Wendell chapter. Now, this book is written as if it's Emily's diary, and in the first 2 books, Wendell basically gets his hands on her diary and writes an entry, and those are probably my favourite chapters in those books. And I was really hoping we were going to get that in this book as well, but I guess this is a little semi-spoiler, we don't get that. However, I do understand this is not Wendell Bamblebee's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is Emily Wilde's. So I guess something that I would love to see in the future is a Wendell book. Maybe not even like a whole book, but a Wendell novella, I think would be brilliant. I think that would be so good. In this book, Wendell writes Emily a bunch of letters, and we read some of them, but not all of them. And maybe something like a little novella of like all of the letters he's ever written to Emily. That would be so much fun to read. I think that would just be such a lovely little addition to this series. Yeah, Wendell is definitely my favourite character by far. And I think I kind of missed the Wendell from the previous books a little bit in this one, but still loved it, and I still loved him as well. I love the reoccurring characters that popped up in this book from the previous books as well. That was such a lovely, not surprise, because sometimes you kind of expect to see characters come back, but it was just really lovely to have them come back and see them interact with Emily again and see how their relationship from the previous book has kind of developed and grown into this book. That was really lovely to see as well. The story and plot, like I mentioned, did have some more weight to it for our characters, so there was more of a seriousness to this book compared to the 2 previous books, but it still had that Emily Wilde low stakes charm to it. It still had that, at the end of the day, everything's going to be okay. Emily is going to figure it out because she always does. Yeah, it was just exactly the wonderful, cozy fantasy that I wanted and that I craved. And I am going to miss this world a lot. That's why I'm really, really hoping she's going to write more books in this world. And if I could get a Wendell novella, that would just be amazing. This is my calling to Heather Fawcett. Please, please write a Wendell novella, because I would gobble it up so quickly. So yeah, overall, I really love this book. I love this series. I cannot wait to pick up her other newest release. I can't remember the name. Is it like Agatha's or something cat shelter? I can't remember what it's called, but I'm so excited to pick it up. I'm just waiting for the paperback because I am a paperback gal. I'm so happy that I have now completed the series. That is that. I think I'm honestly going to leave this as a bit of a shorter slow reader diaries and start a new one when I start a new book, which I do think I know what book I'm going to start, but I just wanted to kind of gently come back into making slow reader diaries after having a very, very hectic and a very crazy April. April was amazing, but it was just so busy and I am feeling quite burnt out. My social battery is very much drained, so I am so looking forward to having a quieter May and hopefully just getting a bunch of reading done. It was my birthday in April, which means we may be getting a little birthday book haul very, very soon, which I'm very excited about. Life feels good at the minute, and in these moments, you've got to soak it up. You've got to soak it up when life feels like this, So, my lovelies, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy the slow reader diaries, I don't usually say this in my videos, but if you enjoy this kind of content, then please consider liking and subscribing. The slow reader diaries is me documenting my reading journey as a slow reader, so it's very, very low pressure here. We're just here to have a good time and enjoy the books at our own pace. at a snail's pace. So if that's your kind of thing, then please, yeah, consider liking and subscribing. I hope whatever book you're currently reading is giving you the 5-star feels, and I really, really hope to see you in the next video. Bye!